Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome once again to a Tabletop RPG News Roundup, this time for November 30th, 2025, where I take a look back at the week in tabletop role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. It looks like the Stormlight Handbook from the, the Cosmere RPG is now on sale with a hardcover, so you can get it at Noble Knight Games and likely other places. Moving onward, we go to Akasha Retold Expanded Core, which expands the Pathfinder First Edition and similar systems with new archetype spells, feats, and alternate racial traits, I believe, from the Akasha Retold series. Then there's Kelpsil's Tales, which has a few offerings. There's Monster Hunt, Corrupted Water Spirit, a 5th edition monster hunt, basically around a single corrupted water spirit, of course. They also have Marshlight Remedy, which is an adventure dealing with apparently a captured troll, where they're using the blood to cure disease. That does not sound like it's going to end well. Anyway, they also have Monster Codex Elemental Conjurations, which offers new lore mechanics and monster stat blocks for various summoned elementals and constructs that use them. Moving onward, you got Frost and Fury, a kobold-themed one-shot for 5th edition. Meant to be an action-packed one-shot where you take on the roles of 4 highly specialized kobolds. Okay. Shadows in the Woods is another 5th edition adventure. This one dealing with, it doesn't say what it deals with. It's part of a series that I've covered before, but I do not know. Anyway, it's apparently available in Italian as well, whatever it is. Beneath the Hanging Tree is another 5th edition adventure dealing with a quiet hamlet that has had 2 townsmen that have been murdered, so I guess it's a murder mystery. You're summoned to figure out what has happened, and apparently the wrong person is being, accused. Fear in Fallowdale is another 5th edition adventure, this one dealing with a summoned demon that has trapped villagers in a corn maze. When the Void Breathes is a 5th edition adventure, wherein, heroes awaken fragments of a power older than time itself, scattered throughout the elemental planes. Okay. Is that higher level, I guess? Yeah, they've got to forge a being of pure balance. Yeah, it sounds like a higher level adventure. Undead Legions is available in a complete bundle, but also individually. They've got several adventures, all for 5th edition, with virtual tabletop and printable maps within them, designed for various levels and themed around undead. I'm only going to link the bundle version. You can also get the individuals. Fiend Folio is a collection of 5th edition creatures and named NPCs from the campaigns by First Ones Entertainment and their various offerings throughout the years. Lucalion's Ledger of Legends Volume 5 will be another collection of 3 monsters for 5th edition. Each one dealing with, I guess it looks like a short story with inspirations for them. Okay, so there's that. And with all 3 detailed, you can decide whether that particular volume is worth it. Mooncursed gives new rules, new lore, and so forth for werewolves for D&D 2024 edition. So there is that. Relics of the Frontline is another D&D 2024 offering. Then contains 19 magical items designed towards martial characters. The Arcanium Infinitum is a 5th edition magic item compendium that includes adventures and player options as well. Apparently 8 mini-adventures with their own enemies and over 160 magic items to go with them. Curious Horde, number 1, includes 10 magic items, theoretically set out for 5th edition, but also, you can generally port them on other systems. Tales for Gamers has 2 offerings for the medieval Tales from Europe system, which is a 5th edition derived, like a realistic medieval fantasy or medieval non-fantasy RPG. There is The Curse of the Last Templar, an adventure set in 1314. And then Physiologists, Men and Beasts in the World, which I believe, it's basically kind of combination bestiary, but also contains other various risks and such. in a classic medieval style. The Defiant North, the Stone Circle, is a solo adventure, either for 5th edition or Shadow Dark. So there is that. You can use it with either. Moving onward, this one is where we cover Shadow Dark related material. The Shadow of Sharad is a desert-themed sword and sorcery style dungeon for level 1 Shadow Dark RPG characters. Shadow Dark Adventures includes 5 adventures for Shadow Dark. Each one, basically, it looks like, I think they can be standalone or used in a single run, from what I can see. Yeah, they can be taken on their own or in a series. Crown Phage is a set of adventures in Adventure Zine. There's a series of them designed for Shadow Dark RPG with NPCs, optional rules, and so forth. I saw available, and there's print on demand as well. There's Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, and then Volume 5. I didn't see where Volume 4 was. So if you're looking for the particulars of each, they are listed on each one. The Ruined Necropolis is a Shadow Dark RPG compatible gauntlet, wherein the villagers are set to infiltrate a fortress teeming with undead. Don't know why, but that's why. But that's what they do. Darkened Devils, a compendium of hellish creatures, is a collection of monsters for Shadow Dark, with demons, devils, and various other hellish creatures, as well as supplemental materials such as herbs, ores, adventure hooks, and magic items. Allies and Enemies is a collection of NPCs for the Shadow Dark RPG system. How many are there? It looks like there's 50 plus NPCs to add to the game with illustrations, and some have their own, well, they look like they all have their own history, but it looks like some of them have their own little layers and such. Maybe. I don't know if that's indicative of what's in there. Children of the Stone is a Swords and Wizardry mini dungeon, of course. I don't see much stuff put out for Swords and Wizardry anymore. For levels 9 to 11, wherein merchant caravans have been attacked by roaming earth elementals and brigands. Okay. Signs of an evil cult? Yeah, sure. This is one I did not see coming. Labyrinth Lord revised and expanded. And I should have seen coming because it's been on the back burner for a long time. Like a lot of people have known, Labyrinth Lord is a classic in the OSR community. I did a review of the Advanced Labyrinth Lord setup that combined both the original Labyrinth Lord and the Advanced system into one book. I really liked that. I still use it from time to time, not as much as I'd like to. This is supposed to be a revised and slightly changed and expanded version of it, including new classes, new monsters, new play advice, and a new adventure, all bundled in to one system. And I've known this has been coming for quite some time, but I actually lost track because it was kind of put on the back burner for a while there. So I guess now that OSE is moving to mostly support the advanced version with their print stuff, and they're just mostly putting PDF support for the old BX version. Some stuff like this and Dragon Slayer are coming to the forefront again now. Nice timing. Anyway, moving on, Necrotic Gnomes. Speaking of old school essentials, Necrotic Gnomes has a couple of offerings. There's Quick Delve number 2, the Grotesque Grotto, which is an adventure designed for old school essentials, of course, and it looks like it is set in a long-buried temple. Okay. They also have Carcass Crawler issue 6, which is a zine for old school essentials and similar systems with new classes, races, deities, cults, monsters, etc., etc. Swamplight is an amphibian-focused RPG set in a wild world where you play various frog adventurers. Anyway, it could be just a generic RPG. I don't know exactly the details, but you throw it on with some unique approach to the characters like that, and it's gonna be worth looking at. Moving onward, we have Deep Wood Shadows: The Woods, an RPG using a narrative-based system, talking about folks in a sort of fairy-infested woodlands. Play as a noble artisan, warrior, beggar, or seer, rapid character creation, and so forth. This is the core system. They also have the Book of Shadows, which contains all the details, background, and stats for the fairy folk who inhabit the Ringwood. And then they have Book of Difficulties, which contains various tests that you can have the various characters perform. I, along with their difficulty ratings and so forth. I don't know. The trend now to use players instead of characters is kind of something I wish was nipped in the bud a long time ago. Anyway, Undeadwood Weird West RPG is, of course, another RPG set in the American West, but with a touch of the supernatural. This one supposedly doesn't take itself too seriously and instead leans into the stranger, kind of gonzo elements of American folklore, which is interesting because there's some weird stuff in the Tall Tales of the West. So maybe this includes more of that. Less of the eldritch stuff and more of the really weird stuff that you see in folk tales and such. All Your Gods Are Dead is designed for the Old Gods of Appalachia system, and it is designed to be a collection of entities and items that you can put into that game uses the Cypher system, I believe. Mutant City Blues 2nd Edition is available in print on demand. And I believe it uses the Gumshoe system. Anyway, it covers a world where various superpowers are granted to miscellaneous people, and you are part of the Heightened Crime Investigation Unit. It's kind of like detective version of a superhero a superhero style thing. So instead of going out and just fighting crimes through brute force, you actually have to look into them and such stuff like that. Then there's BattleTech Brush Wars Operation Guerrero, which is a campaign detailing the actions of every line of the in some of the most important low-level conflicts of the BattleTech universe. I haven't followed the BattleTech lore for decades. I know the system, basically. That's about it. Anyway, last but not least in this roundup, or this particular section of the roundup, there is Warhammer 40,000, Wrath and Glory Only in Death. An adventure for Space Marine characters set, a standalone adventure connected to the secret level episode Warhammer 40,000, and They Shall Know No Fear. Okay, so is that I don't follow that show. Sorry, is that a show? Anyway, that's what you get. It's an adventure connected to that. Anyway, moving onward, we have crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of receiving a product. I mentioned here is not an endorsement, but is for informational purposes only. And only a couple caught my eye this week. There is a World Under Red Glass, which is going to be a 5th edition campaign setting, dealing with a prison world of flooded islands set under its own kind of, it looks like a snow globe almost, except under red glass. Featuring various subclasses involving magic items, adventures, and virtual tabletop objects for play online. Long ago, the heroes spent their last miracle and the world's still lost. So it's basically like the world's under a cracking glass of red glass while hungry moons circle above. Eldritch horror theme. Okay. Then, of course, it's that season, so there's Santa's Workshop, a 5th edition Christmas expansion, yet again, offers various races, classes, creatures, treasures, and a naughty and nice system. To replace alignment, I guess. That rewards virtue, mischief, and everything in between. So you could use that on top of the slew of Christmas tales that are going to be put out there in the coming month, I guarantee you. Anyway, there's also Dark Places and Demogorgons for 5th edition. They've already put out a version, it was a standalone system for the Survive This system, and they branched off into a bunch of Survive This systems. And then they did a conversion for Old School Essentials, and now it looks like they're both trying to fund a conversion for 5th edition. It's basically Stranger Things with the serial numbers filed off, set in the 80s, where you play teenagers from a small town where strange occurrences begin popping on all around you. That sort of genre kind of blew up there, and it's scaled back, but there's still a few good things out there on there. Finally, there's Secret Passages number 3, an old school RPG and Old Hammer magazine. I'm just presuming that's Warhammer 1st, 2nd edition, that kind of thing. With interviews, illustrations, and so forth. It's the third zine exploring those sorts of things in the theme of a White Dwarf from way back then, from the 80s and 90s. Anyway, on that note, I am going to wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my Tabletop RPG News Roundup, this time for November 30th, 2025. As always, links will be below. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, commenting on your feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. Until next time, take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribe Star, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.